Hey, hello, hello. How are you guys? How are you doing? How are you doing today? Give me 1 second because for being honest, I'm late. I was out of my house. I went for breakfast with my kid. Uh, but that appointment, that date actually extended a lot. And yeah. All right, so let me take a look to the chat. Hello, Diane, Jeff, Brax, Alex, Psychic. Guys, Psychic has been on fire, and that's an understatement. On fire. Congratulations, Michael. Hello, D, Global Hot, Patrick, uh, Ravi, Kumar. Very emotional. You or me? Hello, Lilia. Hello, Dus. Hello, Octavio, Dave, Tocayo. How are you, Tocayo? Hello, Gabi, Declan. Good, good, good. Good day in the trading community. And let me tell you something, Dave. Let me tell you something. This is this might sound counterintuitive, but most of the times a red day on the markets, it's a bad day for the trading communities. Why? Because most focus is on in longs, right? Taking calls, and that's normal, right? That's normal. But that's something that I like a lot about our community. We don't marry a bias. We come prepared for different scenarios, and the actual exercise during the day is exactly that, right? Identifying different scenarios and trying to define conditions for me to take a decision. So let's talk about that. All right. Hello, Kai, Eileen. How are you? In key levels we trust. Yeah, we need a $100 bill with that legend, right? In key levels we trust. Uh, okay, in our community. Yes, 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 yes. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. Before we begin, quick shout out to everyone who joined the morning screen share inside the community. Today was one of the clearest examples we have had so far of why we spend so much time discussing scenarios before the market opens or before the actual move happens, right? This morning, this morning we weren't discussing trades, right? We were discussing conditions. We were discussing what will need to happen for buyers to regain control. And actually, let me change this one here. What will need to happen for buyers to regain control, right? And what will need to happen for sellers to regain control, right? The goal was never predicting. The goal was defining the information we needed before making a decision. And that's exactly what the market gave us. Coming into today, the key battleground was obvious, right? Previous day high. Previous day high. Buyers needed to reclaim it. Without that reclaim, the bounce was simply another bounce inside a market that has been creating lower battlegrounds for several sessions. Early in the morning, buyers did exactly what they needed to do. All right, they reclaimed previous day high. They push higher. Right, they forced everyone to ask an important question: is the condition improving? At that moment, I wasn't bearish, right? Because there was no bearish information yet, only bullish information. And that's an important distinction. Too many traders decide what they want before the market decides what it wants. One of the questions I kept repeating this morning was, what will need to happen for me to become interested? All right. So price moving higher wasn't enough, right? Touching resistance wasn't enough. A setup needed to emerge. I wanted to see rejection, momentum shift, market structure shift, previous support becoming resistance. One by one, those pieces started appearing, right? The market began answering the question for us. The reclaim failed, momentum weakened, structure shift, and eventually support became resistance. At that point, we no longer had information, we had opportunity. The entry came on the break and retest around the 750 area, right? And this is very important, guys. Pay attention. This entry was not because price was falling, but because the structure had already confirmed weakness. That's a very different mindset, right? The move, the move wasn't the setup, right? The structure created this break and retest 750. The structure created by the move was the setup, right? So once in the trade, execution became straightforward, right? Level to level management, scaling into weakness, following a structure, reducing risk as targets were achieved. The position was ultimately closed around 741.50, right? Uh, Close to 145% of the contracts traded. What would I improve? the the trade the trade worked, right? I mean, that was clear. But the execution review is not about celebrating outcomes, right? It's about identifying opportunities for improvement. My original objective was closer to pre-market low, all right? As price accelerated lower, I felt myself becoming slightly more emotional. All right, nothing dramatic. No, I mean, no panic, no mistakes, right? But enough urgency that I prefer certainty over allowing the remaining position to continue working. From a risk perspective, that's completely acceptable, right? Like more than half my position above 100%. But from a pure execution perspective, I exited earlier than necessary, right? And that's something I will review later on journaling, because profitable trades deserve review just as much as losing trades. Today's biggest lesson is the same lesson we have been reinforcing inside the community for weeks. The market moving is not the same thing as having a setup, right? Many traders spend their day chasing candles, right? We spend or we invest our morning, our day waiting for the structure. All right. This morning we discuss levels, battlegrounds, conditions, acceptance, rejection, market structure. All right. Way before the trade happened. Then the market created the conditions, right? Then the trade appeared. That's the difference, right? The move is random. The process is repeatable, right? What happened today is exactly why the performance community exists, right? Not to give signals, right? Not to tell people what button to press, right? Not to predict the market, right? Inside the community, we are building traders who understand how to identify battlegrounds, how to think in scenarios, how to define conditions before decisions, right? How to recognize momentum shift, how to recognize market structure shift, how to adapt when information changes, right? Every morning we are discussing levels, liquidity, acceptance, rejection, and potential scenarios before the market reveals its hand. Then, through this session, we are comparing those ideas against what price is actually communicating in real time. Because consistency doesn't come from more information. Consistency comes from learning how to process the information correctly. If you are serious about execution, discipline, and performance development, come take a look at what we are building. Live screen shares, trade reviews, execution coaching, weekly performance sessions, journaling, accountability, a professional environment built around one idea. The edge is in execution, right? Join the performance community. The link is pinned on the comments, on the video description, and in the channel description. And now, let's go to the charts. Let's go to the chat and then let's go to the charts. Hello, Quantex. The green day for me, but not happy with my execution. All right. Neto, why didn't you wait for a clear 5-minute reaction before entering? Also, isn't the broader trend still upward with price just testing the 940 pivot? You know what? For me, not sure if you remember the trading plans that I shared this morning, but for me, 750. I mean, first previous day high, but also 750 was a very relevant key level. So once we try to reclaim previous day high, and then look at this reaction here. I mean, we come here, we almost touched 747, and then we started melting here. So once we cross this 745 line, I was waiting for this. And what I was waiting was a structure for the move, because there I know there were traders that they enter here, right? Like on the first weakness. I mean, if you are trying something like this, I mean, this is a lower high. So I know people that enter here. I watch a few traders that enter here. For me, I mean, yes, that's a structure, but I needed a momentum shift. And the momentum shift was the break of 750 and the break of previous day high and the break of 750. That was the signal for me. So I waited for this break, then the retest, and then confirmation of continuation. So look at this. I entered on this when this lower high was looking for the next lower low, right? I entered on the break of these two candles. So your question, why didn't you wait for a clear 5-minute reaction before entering? Like somewhere somewhere where. um, well, again, I mean, I don't know what you mean on the 5 minute, but this is exactly what I was looking, right? The break of previous day high and 750, the retest coming from the downside, and then reaction and rejection to the downside, right? So that's exactly what I was looking, and I actually got it, right? I actually got it. And then what happened with me with my execution, all right? And this is important to tell you, all right? First, my entry, my risk. Neto, why you didn't close your trade here? Well, guys, you know I wait most of the times for candle closure. And this retest of 750, I mean, that was the main idea of my trade, right? The rejection of 750 and continuation to the downside. So after taking profits here, and let me tell you something, profits here, they were like 25%. I mean, this was not a small trim. Here, right here, it was like 25%. So I mean that was not a small thing. Then later, okay, so after taking 1 quarter my position at 25%, you know, I usually take quarters or something like that. Um, I was willing to hold this because my idea was exactly this, right? The break and retest of previous day high 750. So I hold here, and then price action was just continuing, right? Now, what I did here, and this is important, all right? This is important. Instead of taking quarters like my first trim, I started taking a little bit less than that, something like 15%. Why? Because look at this candle, and then look at this candle, and then look at this candle. So this is important. This is important because I usually will take a quarter of my position here, another quarter of my position here, and then 10%, 10%, and 5% when the market structure shift. All right. But this time was different. Here I took 15%, another 15%. Here I took 1 quarter because right here, look at this area. This area was the pivot and the battleground from yesterday, right? This 742.50 area below this 742.50. So here I took another quarter, right? So at the end, I was being very emotional, and my kid was waiting for me to go for breakfast. So yes, he was kind of uh, making some pressure there. So I closed my trade here, and for being honest, I wanted to wait for the pre-market low. So here I made, let's say I made a mistake because I think that was it. All right. Here, instead of taking the whole position, I was supposed to take just something and wait for the pre-market low or even this area here. I want to show you this area here, 740. This 740, look at this. This 740 was a key level on the higher time frame. And then look at this 730, 750. And well, I mean, market dropped hard today. And I love it because it's expanding, it's expanding the range. Right? And I love it because that gives us more room to play, right? More room to trade. So yeah, that was my execution. So again, I'm accepting it was kind of a mistake to close my trade here because first there was no price action telling me to actually do it. It was more like external factors, and well, I mean that was a mistake. That was a mistake. So I need to journal that, and I need to be clear with my kids because they are on vacation, but I'm not. So yeah, yeah. That, I mean, okay. Brax, Neto, if you strictly follow the trade box with the stop loss, wouldn't you have been stop out? I don't have limit orders for my stop. It's mental, and just what I explained you here, Brax. I mean, this was the main idea, right? The break and retest or rejection of 750. So that's why I was holding that idea. All right. Uh, Brax, you took the same trade, green for the day, but only regret was sizing too small, given the hesitation in the candles from 10 to 10:15. Okay, well that's something. This is just a recommendation, Brax, but I have a consistent size position. All right, so I don't go bigger after a win or lower or smaller after a loss. I am very consistent with my positions, and that gives you a lot of familiarity. So if you have been in any of my workshops or mentoring or classes in any of the communities, you understand. Probably you understand better this, but I like to have a consistent position in terms of dollar amount, and well, that's me, right? Jason, why just don't wait, break 5 minute low and retest? 5 minute low and retest here because there was no break and retest. I mean, well, that was an immediate retest, but that would be more like a breakout trade. And the condition I was looking was the break or the failure of previous day high and 750. So why just don't wait? I mean, if that was your plan, Jason, that's perfect. My plan was looking for momentum shift and market the structure to the downside. Neto, is an easy way to identify a momentum shift just looking for failures to hold at key levels. I think it is, Declan. Once you start looking at look for example here. This was here you have two different things, right? The you fail to hold previous day high after this attempt to reclaim. So that's your first signal of momentum weakness, right? You fail to hold this important or relevant key level, right? Then look at this previous resistance. Look at this, it's now being respected here, right? This previous resistance is now, and more important than the resistance candles, it's the key level that they are respecting or failing to hold, as it was 750. That was my idea for weakness, right? Ravi, I joined the live but seem to freeze when I have to actually enter the trade. Any tip? Rabbit, my tip is, I mean, don't ever wait for me to tell you to enter or to exit a position, right? That was the whole morning intention, right? Giving you the reasoning behind what I was looking, and actually forcing you to think on the conditions for you to take a decision, right? So if even if you were not watching my screen, I think everything that I was sharing, the ideas that I was sharing, the reasoning behind my decisions, I think that was like very helpful. um Andrew, hi Neta, just trying to follow along. Isn't that 7:45? Isn't that 7:45 and 7? Yes, brother, you're right. It's 7:45, not 7:50. I'm sorry about that. Yes. Kumar, Neto, I exited the trade completely at break even after the first profits and miss out on the whole move. What should I do in such a scenario? Well, that's a very good question, Kumar. If let me tell you something. If the plan was closing your trade at break even after taking some profits, right? As part of your risk management plan, you should be ready to re-enter once the trade is telling you that it's actually working, right? If you close your position at break even out of fear of losing your realized profits, I think you should take a break, right? Because if your decisions were because because of your emotions, I think you should take a break until you are cool again and you can take decisions based on the chart and not on your emotions, right? Ricardo Neto, that's 7:45. Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that, guys. It was 7:45, not 7:50. Neto, what time did you enter? It was 9:59. Quantex, I held 5% beyond your exit, but I exited shortly after because of emotion. When it started reversing. Yeah, but I mean, after my exit, it still dropped like $2. Palmavera, ¿qué pasa, hermano? I know the FOMO hit. Eileen, I think my first entry was the same as you, but I edited because of that bullish. You exited because of that bullish candle. This one here. Then I re-entered 10:04. Okay. I should have switched to 5-minute chart and wrote it down. Brax, Neto, didn't the candles hesitating between 10 and 10:15 after your entry scare you? Why scare me? No, I mean, I trust my setup. I trust price action. I trust market structure. Uh, that I mean, in key levels we trust. That was what Eileen said. Dia, Neto, market structure shift trades have higher win rate than the continuation in a structured trade. What do you think? Uh, Data, brother. I don't have an opinion on that. You should look for data. Tasnim, how are you, Tasnim? Hi, Neto. Today I understood why you trust more puts than calls. Today was very good day. 300% from VWAP. I will be okay. Okay. Where is BWAP? I don't even know where is BWAP. I don't even have VWAP here. Ariel, was the low of the day a good entry? Low of the day. Give me one key level here, Ariel. Uh, oh my God, where is this going? Low of the day 10:13. 10:13. Yes, this was a very good entry, not because this low of the day. I mean that was actually never. I mean that was low of the day for a few seconds. This was a good entry because look at this retest of this liquidity area. Do you see how relevant was on the pre-market? And look at this, how relevant was yesterday? Yeah, this was the belly button from yesterday, right? That was the battleground from yesterday. So yes, this below 742.50 or this 740 rejection, look at this. That was a super nice entry. I know a few traders that took this one here and made 450% all the way to previous week. This was previous week high, previous week low. Yeah, that was an incredible trade. That was an incredible trade. And it had everything that we needed, right? Retest, rejection. So if you wanted to look at this, if you wanted to do something uh something like not too aggressive, I think that was the trade. Look at this. Even if you look at this, even if you were respecting the 50 cents stop loss, the 50 cents of stop loss, that's my system. I mean, I'm not saying you should take this as a rule, right? But even if you take this as I do most of the times, look at this. You never hit the stop loss. Yeah, probably you were a little bit scared with this candle here, but look at this. That will be yeah, just as I said, a 450% trade. That's what I was reading from one of you guys that shared your trade here. Um, Hi Neto, do you think if IV too high, it's better not to trade? I don't even watch IV. So I don't know. The answer is I don't know. I wouldn't try to give an opinion here because I don't know. Kumar, my plan includes exiting at break even, but it's my concern if that is a right plan or not. Uh, Kumar, again, I mean, it's completely up to you, right? I mean, if you are, it looks like it's a small account. That's a small account condition. If you are only trading maybe less than 5 contracts, closing at break even, that might be a good idea. That might be a good idea. I mean, once you take some profits, you don't want to let them go. I would close majority of my position on break even and maybe let like one contract to play, right? Even if it goes all the way to your stop loss, because that's gonna give you information, right? That's gonna give you information if your stop loss is well positioned or if it doesn't work at all, right? And if your trade works, that's gonna be your runner, right? But I mean, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's up to you on what you want to do. Palmavera, we are all bears here. Screw calls, yeah. Look at this. Look at this. This is my new uniform. Papa Bear. Neto, was your entrance 958? No, that it was 959. Neto, for your setup, as a follow-up question from yesterday, what is the worst and best days for your break retest boom setup based from your data? Um, in terms of what? Kumar, you trade with 4 contracts generally. Yeah, so I will try. Listen to this, Kumar. This is not financial advice. This is just a recommendation. What I will try to do is trying to take half my position on your first target, and then if it goes back to break even, maybe close one contract and let the final the four contract actually play. It could be either go to your stop loss or to let it play like to the actual targets. Uh Best and worst day for break retest boom in terms of win rate. Is the win rate for break retest boom higher than? Yes. Well, that let me tell you something, Brax. In my opinion, well, it's not my opinion. In my data, break retest boom was more successful than the break retest kaboom in terms of the, like the technically speaking, right? The usually the break retest boom has is I'm looking for the words. I'm trying to clear my ideas before giving you an answer. It's if you are only rating like how it moves, probably they are the same thing. But the break retest boom, meaning taking puts, is is always more profitable than taking calls on the short term, right? So I could take a $1 drop on puts and make 80%, and I could take a $1 move to the upside and make only 25%. Why? Because that's the nature of calls and puts. Gabi, I like a lot the kaboom. Yeah, and it's the same principle there, Gabi. Right? It's an intraday market structure shift. So yeah, I mean it's the same thing. There's we have a lot of members of this community. They prefer the break retest kaboom, and they are always telling me like, "Hey Neto, you should give us some options on the chart," and that's why I mean you are in the community, right? That's why I have been trying to provide reasoning for both sides. All right, what needs to happen for me to become interested on longs? What needs to happen for me to start being interested in short? So I'm not saying. I mean, that my strategy, my playbook, it's taking puts, right? But in the screen share, during the market analysis, we are giving opportunities for everyone, right? I mean, I'm not giving anything. I'm giving my opinion and analysis for both sides. So if you guys are interested in taking the break retest kaboom in our community, that's something that can happen every day, right? Every day. Um, Mr. Bear. Okay. Brett. Based on the levels I drew the first retest I saw today, I was 1118. 1118. 1118. 1118. This one here. 1118. Well, first it's out of my trading window, right? But so that's why I wouldn't have an opinion here. But look at this. This is actually a nice, like it's trying to recover, and then it fails to hold this market structure to the upside. So if you were looking for this here, 1118, this here, this is, yeah, I mean, this is a break and retest of this support now turned into resistance area. And bro, you were super lucky. Reject of 737, reject of 737 here. Yes, reject of 737 from the 15-minute opening ORV from Friday. Okay, well, I from Friday. This is Monday. This is Friday. That's not. That's not. No, I think this was more like 737 rejection here, failing to continue with the market structure to the upside. 15-minute order block. Okay. 15-minute order block. Monday, Friday. This one here, not this one here. I like it. I mean, I like it. The one thing that I don't like, and that's a personal preference, is that I don't trade this time, right? I don't trade this time, especially if I already took one trade. But yeah, I like it. I like it. Failing to hold this market structure, rejection of this 737. I like it. And look at this one key level to the other. Oof. Look at this candle here. Wow. I don't even want to go back to Webull and look for my puts, like what are they worth right now. I held for the daily gap fill. Wow, that was incredible, Brett. What was that? 400%? 500%? Would you mind to share the percentage? This one here. Wow. That was a $10 drop. No, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. All right. So guys, that was all for today. I really appreciate you to joining this daily exercise. Um, something great that happened yesterday. I only trade on Webull. Yes, I only trade on Webull. I've been trying tasty trades, but I only opened the account. I tried a few times and I just forgot. I need to retake that because if something happened on when I move, I would like to have that platform ready. Well, I was telling you something really nice happened yesterday. This channel, yes, it's international. We reached 4,000 subscribers. 4,000 subscribers on the channel. I'm really happy because I remember the first time the first time I was recording a video. I just want to say thank you to all of you, not only for watching the videos, but for helping build what this community is becoming. Right? I know this is a small channel for the YouTube universe, but it's a huge milestone for us. All right, so I just hope that this channel is helping you to be more patient, to follow your rules, to journal, to improve your decision making, and to build your execution system. So if something of that has been achieved, mission accomplished, right? Mission accomplished. So guys, thank you very much for being here, and well, I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.